Let me just go for food, sex, drinks, to feel better about myself for the pain that I'm experiencing. That's a reactive nature.
All of that stuff that we push down and doesn't get expressed gets stored in our tissues, and it causes inflammation.
Absolutely.
And it drives disease.
Light of the Creator is the source of all energy, positive or negative. It's only one source of energy, light. The Zohar tells us when you run after success that is not yours, you'll be miserable and you'll disconnect from your true success.
Sexually satisfy myself by just watching strangers on a screen.
It's called spiritual parasites that blocking my soul. Unification through sex creates tremendous bond between these two souls when it's done with the intention of love and actually bring light to the world.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
What would you consider the biggest mess up in your life? Eitan Yardeni is one of the most respected Kabbalah teachers alive. For almost 4 decades, he has been transmitting ancient wisdom that answers the questions that keep you up at night. Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? Why do I keep struggling in relationships? What is my soul actually here to do? He teaches at the Kabbalah Center in New York City, where he's guided tens of thousands of people through transformation, including Madonna, who he's worked with for the last 30 years. This is a conversation I've been genuinely looking forward to for a very long time. Eitan is someone that I've been learning from as well. I'm friends with one of his daughters, and this conversation was probably one of my favorite podcasts that I've ever recorded. And I've recorded a lot of podcasts, so I'm so excited for you to listen to the conversation with the one and only Eitan Yardeni.
You can repeat after me or just absorb the energy, okay? Chesed. Ana bekoach gedulat yaminecha tatir tzrua. Accessing the tree of life dimension, connecting to unconditional love. גבורה. קבל רינת עמך סגבנו תארנו נורא. Shutting down the reactive system. תפארת. נא גיבור דורשי ייחודיך כבבת שמרם. Receiving for the sake of sharing. נצח. ברכם טהרם. רחמי צדקתך תמיד גמלם. The power of perseverance, never giving up. הוד. חסין קדוש. ברוב טובך נהל עדתך. Connecting to divine inspiration, being guided by the light of the Creator. יסוד. יחיד גאה לעמך פנה זוכרי קדושתך. Raising the consciousness of the whole world, spreading the light of Kabbalah in the whole world. מלכות. שבתנו קבל ושמע צעקתנו יודע תעלומות. Renewal, rejuvenation, starting from zero.
Wow. You mentioned something in that meditation that's actually something that's been on my mind recently, which is this idea of unconditional love. And it sounds great. Sounds like this beautiful concept and idea. But I feel like it's almost non-existent in today's world. And that's why on my own journey, I'm realizing that the relationship that matters most in my life is the relationship with the Creator, because that is true unconditional love. But even when we think about the love between husband and wife, or best friends, or children and parents, it's usually based on conditions. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. Nevertheless, there's a reason why Hillel and Rabbi Akiva said that the whole purpose of the Torah, the whole purpose of the 612 precept, mitzvot, are to reach to the 613th one, which is love thy neighbor as yourself. Now, the question is, what does it mean? Just say yes to everyone? How do you love someone without condition? So, basically, you said something very important. Without connection to the Creator, I can never love someone in a real way. So imagine like this. There is horizontal relationship and vertical relationship. Me and the Creator is vertical. Me and other are horizontal.
Okay.
Our purpose of life is to get closer to the Creator, vertically, every day. The challenge that we're going through is to help us to get closer to the Creator. The moment I can give unconditionally, help us to get closer to the Creator. Closer means aligning with His energy, aligning with the essence of the Creator, which is pure desire to give, period. Pure abundance, period. Now, our soul is already aligned. The energy of our soul, our true essence, the real me that never dies, is pure desire to give, because that's the only way I'm one with the Creator. Now, in this physical world, the only way really to manifest getting closer to the Creator is by actions of giving, especially when you don't get immediate return. Thank you. I love you. You are amazing. Because in that moment, you're actually moving towards the real goal, getting closer to the Creator. And actually, each one of us needs to ask ourselves, when I'm giving simple action of kindness, charity, care, listening, doing this podcast and sharing with other people, what's my intention? Do I want some energy of recognition, respect, temporary relief, being liked, satisfying the I'm not enough kid within me? Or, let's put it aside, what I really want is alignment. Because the source of all true fulfillment comes from actually getting closer to the Creator, which the Creator is not up there in the sky, is within my soul. So it is a process, and the fact that we realize, wow, I'm upset because I was a little bit too conditional. I didn't get what I expect. It's part of the process of learning. I was too attached. Great lesson. Next time I'll be less attached. So in this physical world, the only way to truly be closer to the Creator is by actually removing the barrier between me and others. So the goal is oneness with the Creator, true love, true appreciation. But the only way to do it, and that's the reason the Creator brought us in this world, not to be on top of the mountain by ourselves, to be with people. And doesn't mean love the neighbor as yourself. I'm always saying yes. Sometimes true loving action is saying no.
That's the difference, right, between being nice and being kind.
Absolutely. Being truly kind, what is my core? What is the truth that's leading me? What is the right thing from the Creator point of view? Not what's going to make me feel comfortable. What's going to please temporarily the other person. That's reactive giving. That's giving that based on getting some temporary relief. But that's a journey. None of us are there. That's the reason it says when a person reached the ultimate level of love thy neighbor as yourself, means I'm giving not for the sake of getting back from the other person, from the sake of truly aligning with my essence. And it requires many actions, and every action matter.
Wow. I didn't even get to read the intro I had for you, but we'll save it for later. So one of the things that Kabbalah helped me a lot with a couple years ago when I started learning at the center in Miami was removing some of my reactive behavior. And I realized, since kind of taking a 3 or 4 month break and not really continuing the learning process with Kabbalah, those reactive behaviors came back. And I'm a very passionate person, which is a blessing. You know, it's a very positive quality, but if it's not under control and grounded in humility, then it can sometimes lead to reactive behaviors. And how, by the way, pause, what a pleasure. That was like the greatest lesson for me. Like the first couple of weeks of Kabbalah was just anytime I felt triggered, anytime I felt like the anger channeling through me, it was taking a deep breath, pause, what a pleasure.
Exactly.
That simple line. What are some other simple actions that we can do on a daily basis to cultivate that closer connection to the Creator and remove some of the reactive behavior?
That's beautiful, because I think we are all tested all day long. Maybe for you is with anger, either external or internal. For some people it's self-judgment. For other people it's hurt and becoming small and self-doubt. So reaction to challenges that triggering my void, my unhappy, my lack, is a test we all going through. Actually, some Kabbalists would say we are tested at least 100 times a day.
Wow.
Actually, in Rosh Hashanah, we're blowing the shofar 101 times. It's actually one above the 100. 100 times a day we're tested. Doesn't matter how spiritual you are, because you always want to go to your next level. So first, we need to give the context of why we are tested with challenges and we become reactive. It's not because the universe is cruel to us, because the Creator is inviting us to grow. That's a reframe. Every challenge that I'm going through, even though the challenges will have a story, they promise, and they didn't do what they promised, or I'm upset with myself because I didn't follow through with my commitment, or someone just stole from me, there always will be a story. But beneath the story, the hidden light, beneath the story, is only one invitation. I'm inviting you to grow. So the fact that you have this preframe, it helps, because, and the reason why Kabbalistically it's all invitation to grow, because in our origin Kabbalistically we already experienced the light in the Ein Sof, in the endless dimension, in our source. There's a concept called bread of shame, which we as a vessel felt, I want to work for it. I want to earn the light. I want to be a co-creator, not just a receiver. And that's what this life is about. So the Creator gave us the opportunity to overcome the reactive nature, which is the opposite of earning. What is reactive nature? It's expected, it's a default reaction, it's repetitive, it's for the what drives it is need for instant gratification, instant fix. I'm going through pain, I don't know how to fix it, let me be angry. Let me judge someone else. Let me shut down. Let me just go for food, sex, drinks, to feel better about myself for the pain that I'm experiencing. That's a reactive nature. So the Creator tells us, you truly want to earn the light? Here is the path. By you developing skills, and it's okay, you're going to fail, you're going to fall, that's part of life.
Yeah.
But developing skills to pause the reactive nature, don't suppress. Suppressing is you're shoving it inside, you're still reactive internally.
Yeah.
Pause means, pause what a pleasure means, what a pleasure. What an opportunity to actually to create something new. To go against gravity. So the fact that you have this, that's the first step. There's more step, but that's the first step to shift from pain to opportunity. Every time I have opportunity to act from soul, from unexpected, I'm creating a space to allow light from the endless to come and to allow miracles, to allow creativity, to allow blessings.
Yeah.
That pause is not, I'm stopping reactive because it's bad for me to react. That pause is I'm pausing the ego system to allow unlimited. What specifically unlimited? Don't go there. Then it becomes limited. Trust.
Yeah. So the pause is really creating the space for you to kind of separate your highest self from your ego.
Beautiful, exactly.
And then it's funny because in spirituality, right, you oftentimes hear, oh, I need to kill my ego. Or you hear this all the time in the plant medicine world, right? I did this ayahuasca ceremony, I killed my ego. And my perspective is you shouldn't kill your ego. Your ego is going to give you constant lessons and opportunities for growth.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious to know your perspective on that.
Listen, that's fundamentals in Kabbalah. The question that we are asking, and the Zohar speaks about it, who created the ego? It's called the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, or the opponent within. All these negative desires based on short-term fulfillment and destructive force. Who created the ego? Who created the evil inclination?
God.
God himself. Why? The Zohar tells us it's a good angel appearing bad for the temporary period of Tikkun. Without it, we'll never get deep. We'll never have true love. We'll never really overcome the facade, external desire, and find the deeper desire, the deeper trust in the Creator, the deeper surrender, the deeper love, the deeper desire for truth.
So we can't become our highest self without the ego.
Exactly. That's our gift.
I feel like that's such a misinterpretation with a lot of people in the spiritual world, you know? And how has in your personal experience, how has your reactivity shown up? Like, what has been a tikkun for you? I'm sure, you know, there's multiple layers there, but is there a consistent reactive behavior that you had to really work hard on to overcome?
Beautiful question. Yes, absolutely. So I suffered for many years with intestine and stomach issues for many years. Used to be diagnosed with Crohn's disease.
Wow.
I had bleeding ulcers. Right after I started actually full-time in the Kabbalah, I'm talking about 40 years ago, and I suffered for quite many years.
Wow.
And I knew, with the help of the teaching, with the help of my teacher, the Rav Berg, I knew that there's a lesson there. And there's many layers to the lesson. I think the first step is accepting that it's exactly for my best. But what I've learned, and thank God, I'm healthy and I'm blessed. What I've learned, that the self-judgment about not perfect enough, not spiritual enough, which is, even though it appears because I'm not doing the spiritual thing and I'm still holding on to fear, it's actually being over-controlling. My style of controlling is not external. I realize is more internal. I want already this process to change. I want already to be perfect spiritually. And that was a source of internal anxiety which took me time to identify. And when I didn't address that, it had to manifest itself into stomach issues. Because that's how the laws of Tikkun work.
Well, it's so interesting.
When you don't address your reactive thoughts, when you don't address then your reactive feelings, and you don't learn the patterns, and when you don't address, why am I unfulfilled now? What is my reactivity? I'm self-judgment. I'm not accepting myself the way I am. Actually, I'm feeling less than. Actually, I'm waiting to be more perfect, to show up in an unlimited way. So there's many reactive tendency that at the end of the day made you small and not serving in an unlimited way.
Wow.
So when you don't address that, it's not because God is punishing us. God is a force of love. But what's presenting itself is manifestation of this reactivity as pain, as physical pain, that forcing you to wake up. For me, I had to go through that to totally wake up completely to that. And actually, in every time the thoughts of imperfection comes, great, bring it on. Actually, I can do even more. So that's part of my actually healing.
Where are you at in that process now? 40 years later. Is it still showing up?
Absolutely showing up, but not in a way it's blocking me. Actually, in a way, I'm leveraging it to do more. So for me, feeling imperfection and feeling small, it's that's the time even to shine in a bigger way. You can do it. Because we look at life based on our own limited perception. I can do it, I cannot do it. I'm strong, I'm weak. But that's illusion. From the creator point of view, in every given moment, I can do major things. And especially the time I don't see it, you can be a better channel to do greater things that you can imagine. Because you can access the unknown dimension.
It brings me back. Have you read the book, Your Body Keeps the Score?
I heard about the book, I didn't read the book yet.
It just brings that up because basically the premise of the book is that during our human experience, all of the suppressed feelings and emotions, all of the anger that we push down, all of the self-judgment, the resentment, the jealousy, whatever, all of that stuff that we push down and doesn't get expressed gets stored in our tissues and it causes inflammation and it drives disease. And I think that's really important to understand is having the ability to actually express yourself, especially as men in society, we're almost programmed and taught to not show emotion.
To be perfect.
To be stoic all the time.
Yeah.
So how do we overcome that so we don't experience this physical manifestation of the suppression?
That's beautiful because step number one of transformation is recognition of these reactive feelings, anxious feeling, fearful feeling. And that's the reason it's so essential for men and women, but as you say, men is more challenged to be vulnerable, to have real friendship, real relationship, real marriage that you can actually open up and support each other in that process. Because without admitting the anxious feeling or disturbed feeling that I have, which all of us going through at least 100 times a day, you don't even begin the process of transformation. And part of our illusionary defense system is cover it up with layers, with klipot, with shells, and don't feel it. But that's the ego, because I want to feel good now. I want to be perfect now. And that's something I had to learn personally through difficult experiences, that actually you have to admit and to be vulnerable to yourself and to others. And being weak is very often being strong.
This is one of the things I've been kind of wrestling with also. because as someone that people look to for guidance, leadership, support, there's almost like a certain level of vulnerability that I feel like is too much, if that makes sense. Because then it's like, well, how am I supposed to get help from you when your shit is hitting the fan? Like when your life seems chaotic. So how have you kind of found a healthy balance with that in terms of sharing your struggles and challenges openly and also having the awareness to not overshare? Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. Like everything else in life, there's a balance, and you need to ask yourself, because very often people are too comfortable sharing because they become needy, they get energy from that, and sometimes they're overprotecting themselves. So we all need to find a balance. And I think each one of us need to have a real friendship and real relationship that I can open up and share, but doesn't mean I'm here to share with everyone. Because not everyone truly 100% care about your well-being. Some people, when you'll share your insecurity and pain, they feel, thank God, I feel better about myself now.
Right.
And actually they don't truly care. So, again, I think our soul have all the answers, and through experience and mistakes, is it the right thing to share here? Should I open up here? What's the connections? And we need to allow the flow of truth to reveal itself.
Yeah, you've been
the basics is not being in the head. The basics is our soul knows all the answers. And while you do your best, you constantly need to ask for guidance, for clarity. What's the right thing to do?
You've been teaching Kabbalah for over 40 years, or learning Kabbalah since 1985.
Since 1981, learning Kabbalah.
Yeah, and you were 14, right?
17.
17 when you started learning?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, in the age of 18 in Israel, I joined the Israeli army. I was in the war in Lebanon, 1982, a soldier. And then, when I finished the Israeli army, that's when I completely connected to the Kabbalah Center. I felt it's my mission, and since then I'm full-time. And a couple of years later, I started to teach as well. So, of course, student for life, but teaching for many years. And for me, teaching is my path of personal transformation. Because the basic of Kabbalah, you're not here to teach the world, to show everybody what life really is all about. The common path for all of us is transforming our reactive nature to proactive, transforming our selfish nature to giving nature, transforming our non-trusting nature to surrender to the light of the Creator. So that's my path of transformation.
Man, Eitan, the more stuff that you say, the more it's like opening up these different portals.
Absolutely, that's
what I was going to ask you, man, is like, and again, I'm just sharing my experience because I'm curious to know like your perspective, because you've been sharing for 4 decades, and that is absolutely incredible, the longevity. And that's, I feel like, how you know it's part of your soul's purpose, is like that you just probably wake up every day excited to continue learning and sharing and teaching and receiving so you can share more.
Feeling blessed beyond, yeah.
So with all of the teaching that you've done, I mean, do you have an estimate, by the way, of how many people you have taught, like both physically in person and on online? Is there any way to measure that?
No.
It's got to be, it's tens of thousands for sure. I'm curious to know if it's crossed that 100,000 barrier.
Probably yes.
Okay.
Probably yes, yeah.
So with all of that teaching, with all of that human connection, have you ever become numb to people's problems and people's sharing to the point where it's like you've seen everything and heard everything, where it almost makes you numb of your emotions? Is that something you've experienced or no?
I'm sure in certain moment, and going back, of course, I was moments of numb and days of being numb because of my own reactive process and because of my own difficult process I went through. But in general, what I'm striving for every day is to clear yesterday and to clear tomorrow and to know today is the beginning of my path. So I know everybody that I meet is part of my path of transformation. And there's no two identical moments in this world. There's not two identical moments. Even if you do the same thing. Kabbalistically, it says that every moment you have unique sparks of light of the Creator meant to be revealed. So I'm trying every day. Do I always there? No, but I'm trying to keep it. And that's the reason I always look at this. What is the opportunity here? What is the goal now? What is the opportunity to be present, to share, to learn, to help, to take in?
Another question that's been valuable for me personally to ask myself is, why is this happening in my movie?
What is up? It is Jeremy here, and I'm sorry to interrupt today's episode, but in case you didn't know, I don't get paid to do this podcast. I do it from a place of love, from a place of service, because I truly believe that these conversations can change the world. And all I ask in return is for you to share this episode with a loved one. If you're enjoying the conversation today, it would absolutely mean the world to just share with a friend or family member, because word of mouth is my oxygen. And if for some reason you haven't yet subscribed on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, wherever you happen to be listening to this, it would mean the world if you just hit that subscribe button, because that really helps us reach more people and impact more lives. Thank you so much. And now let's get back to the show.
Another question that's been valuable for me personally to ask myself is, why is this happening in my movie?
Yeah.
Why is this person showing up? Why is this guy my Uber driver? Why am I waiting behind in line for a coffee behind this person? Why did I just 2 weeks ago leave my phone in an Uber and not have a phone for 5 days?
Exactly.
Like, all of these things are intentional. Like, they're happening by design, but sometimes in the present moment, it's very hard to have that perspective. Like, this is happening for my highest good. And I think that's a big part of these teachings too, is to have that perspective in the present moment.
Absolutely, because if you truly want to speed up the process of transformation and as a result fulfillment, because the Creator wants to give us endless fulfillment, endless joy. And the barrier is me stuck in the old me. So one of the powerful, besides pause with a pleasure, one of the most powerful questions that you can ask yourself whenever something happens not your way, especially when there's repetitive feelings appearing. Why is it in my movie? That's words of Ravberg. Why is it in my movie? Why did the infinite light of the Creator presented this specific situation in my life? What am I supposed to learn from it? Where is my growing opportunity? How is it supposed to, what is it supposed to let me let go of? What am I supposed to step into? Why does it bother me so much? And not being in your head themselves. There's a big difference between asking questions for the purpose of learning how to transform versus self-judgment. It's a big difference. Beating myself up, I'm wrong, I'm not spiritual, that's the reason it happened, I'm punished. There's no punishment. There's opportunity to grow. The Creator is not a punisher. We punish ourselves when we're stubborn to get stuck and to fight to stay in my own reactive consciousness. It has to be this way. Think about what really anger is about. I'm angry at life that things are not happening according to my expectation. It's the opposite of being open and surrender for the flow of the light that wants to elevate me to a bigger and a higher place.
How can we start detaching from expectations? Because it seems like if we're able to do that, then it will create more inner peace in the process.
Yeah, so practically, in order to achieve any manifestations in this world, you need to have some expectation and clear desire, isn't it?
Right.
But the Kabbalist is saying, as you're about to manifest, or as things don't happen according to your own plan, let it go. It's a dance. Focus your desire and let go. Focus your desire and let go. It's like Avraham, Avraham Avinu, yes? Abraham the patriarch, the first spiritual teacher. It says in the Torah, he said about himself, Avanochi afar va'efer. And I'm like ashes and soil. What does ashes represent? What does soil represent?
Life and death?
Ashes represent no continuity. Soil represents always continuity. And what basically Abraham is teaching us, anything that you just manifested yesterday, you need to detach from it. It's like ashes. The only thing is the inner light stays with you. In order to become soil for the new level, you need to burn the ego attachment, which is the limited attachment. So it's constant work. I'm planting seed for something positive. You're creating a new business. You have certain goal and you're excited. And then things don't go your way. What part of you is upset? The ego that is not aligned with the bigger picture desire. Make it ashes. It's a constant dance. Ashes, soil. And when do you do what? That's deep secret Kabbalistically. It's called direct light and return light that you learn. And it's a constant dance. There's time to go full force with desire and focus, and there's time to let go completely.
It seems like also, based on what you're saying, a good way potentially to not fall into that trap of being too attached to certain outcomes and expectations would be to have a clear intention, like for the long term, not just the short term.
Absolutely.
Because like, and I'm guilty of this too, we're living more and more in this age of just addiction to distraction, addiction to instant gratification, addiction to quick hits of dopamine in the form of everything, in the form of I can order us food and it can be here within 15 minutes. We don't have to move anywhere.
Exactly.
I can swipe right on one of these dating apps and find multiple options to have a drink with tonight without moving at all, right? I can sexually satisfy myself by just watching strangers on a screen. And we're living in a world that seems to be more and more consumed with instant gratification and quick hits of dopamine and reactive behavior. How in the world do we break this cycle? How do we break this cycle? Especially, I'm going to talk about something specific. We'll kind of transition, but like something that a lot of men will message me about or ask me about, and they do it kind of secretly because there's a lot of shame attached to it, is porn addiction, right? And sometimes these men are married, sometimes they're not, but either way, like the destructive pattern of watching porn and not only just releasing your seed, watching strangers on a screen, but also the way it just depletes your energy, the way it depletes your confidence, the way it depletes your life force. So I'm curious to know if you have any actionable tips that the men can take to maybe overcome this reactive behavior.
You ask many questions.
I know.
And I think,
I'm going to let you figure out where to start.
Let's start with the long-term desire.
Long-term desire.
Long-term desire.
Kavanah, kivun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Long-term desire. Because I think every day is like a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at every day as a lifetime. The
Every
fact
day
that
is
you've
a
done
lifetime.
amazing yesterday, that's amazing. That's my next lifetime. Today, I'm starting fresh. I want to realign my intention. You know, in Hebrew, kavanah is intention, come from the same word of kivun, direction. At least when you're starting with the right intention, you have a chance. When you don't start with the right intention, you don't have a chance. When the intention in the morning is, I just want to relieve myself from my stress. I want just to manifest my chores and my responsibility. I just want to make money. I want to meet a nice girl. I want to have fun tonight. That's the natural intention. You do not have a chance. So let's start with the right intention. I'll get to porn soon, okay?
Okay. I trust you.
Yes. So, what is the right intention? The only thing that will truly make me happy, if my desire, my actions align with my soul and with what the desire of the Creator wants to give me today. The Creator, the infinite source of good that exists within each one of us, infinite field of blessings, but is unique blessings, unique path, waiting specifically for me. Our goal to go back home. Home is aligning with my unique purpose. The Zohar tells us when you run after success that is not yours, you'll be miserable and you'll disconnect from your true success. So it's not just about being successful, and it's not even about just helping people. You need to mentor, help people in the unique way you meant. And I'm truly open, at least that's my intention. What was I meant to do today? Please align me with the thoughts, with the people, with the phone call that I'll take, with the phone call that I will not take. That's first intention. I want to be conduit. So that's number one. Now, Kabbalistically, there's two types of desire. Desire for oneself alone, and desire to receive for the sake of sharing. Desire to receive for the sake of sharing is the desire that allows the light in, and there's longevity in whatever you do. There's continuous blessing, and whatever, if that's your intention and that's why you do things, not for the sake of receiving. What is desire to receive for oneself alone? I want temporary pleasure. I want temporarily high. I want temporary fix for my pain, for my anxiety, for my loneliness, for my disconnect, for my sadness. So here comes, that's what the opponent is within us. I'll give you this instrument for desire for oneself alone. It can be through porn, masturbation, looking, speaking bad about other people. It's also a major tool of the desire for oneself alone.
Lashon hara.
Lashon hara, absolutely, evil tongue.
How does that negatively impact our life if we're talking badly about other people behind their back?
Because words are the most powerful instrument a human being can manifest energy. The Zohar called the four kingdoms inanimate, vegetation, animal kingdom, and the speaking kingdom, not the human kingdom.
Wow.
Because it says, through our power of the words, we meant to restore light in this world, to restore miracles, to restore blessing. And when you channel these words just for instant gratification, you create negative spirits that help the person that hurt the person you speak about, help creating spiritual pollution, and hurting the person himself that speaks. So,
by the way, I've never heard that term in my life before, and I absolutely love it. Spiritual pollution. Never heard that before.
Absolutely. Any wars, any negativity is happening in the world, any earthquake happening in the world, it's a result of spiritual pollution. In the same way you said the body carry energy and the aches of the body represent some spiritual tikkuns, our planet is the body of humanity. And anytime something erupts or chaos, it's a result of that spiritual pollution. That we all responsible, we're not here to blame this and that. Absolutely. Now, actually, one of the greatest tests of desire to receive for oneself alone is sexual short circuits and evil tongue.
Could we break those down a little more? We just broke down the evil tongue one a little bit.
Yes.
If there's anything more you want to share, feel free.
Yeah, because think about sex. It's also a bridge to the metaphysical world. You can bring down a soul from the unseen metaphysical world, the world of souls, the world of harmony, the world of heaven, the world of beauty, to physical action. You can channel soul that can manifest itself physically. So words is the channel to bring energy from above to this world, and sex, it's a channel to manifest souls. And actually Rabbi Isaac Luria says clearly, according to the intention of the couple during the time of intercourse, it will determine what type of souls will be drawn. The kavanah, the intention during the union. Is it about love? Is it about creating union in the upper worlds and bringing light to the world? Or is it just my own pleasure? Of course, we are tested with just wanting to think about my own pleasure. And it will be there, but the question, what is the overall intention in spite of that? So because sex is such a channel to bring light, not just when you bring kids. When a couple, married couple that love each other, unification through sex creates tremendous bond between these two souls when it's done with the intention of love and actually bring light to the world.
What about if it's not done with the intention of love?
So again, there's many levels. When it's more, the intention is purely for oneself alone, you disconnect from the light. And there's many levels. If you're just doing it for yourself, with yourself, there's even more that is not involved with actually creating any fulfillment to someone else. So there's of course levels. And the basic rule is like this, about everything. Every time you receive pleasure for yourself alone, energy never disappears. So where does it go after you feel empty? Where does it go? If energy never disappears, where does the energy go?
Spiritual pollution.
Actually, spiritual pollution within you and in the world.
Yeah.
It's called klipot. It's called shells. It's called spiritual parasites that blocking my soul. Do you want that? Yeah, but it's too tough. That's part of the discipline. Each one needs to have the right friend that will have the right inspirations and support to assist them in that path. And of course, my suggestion is also see where you are and how you can become better tomorrow instead of jumping from 0 to 100. And some people needs to jump, but that's the idea. And it's simple. It's not about God punishing me. It's very simple. Light of the Creator is the source of all energy, positive or negative. It's only one source of energy, light. When I'm channeling the light towards my soul, there's growth, expansion, clairvoyance, connections, synchronicities. My potential is downloaded. My next level is downloaded. When I'm channeling the light for myself alone, for pleasure, it's actually blocking me, causing sadness, causing emotional issues, causing its separation from my true soul, from my true essence, from my true truth. Clairvoyance is a moment of knowing what's right. Because of a moment of connection with the light of the Creator, I have a moment of connection with the true perception of my soul. If I have clairvoyance all day long, I'll be the happiest person in the world. I want to move towards clairvoyance.
Yeah.
It's not just, wow, I don't want to be selfish because it's not nice. I want it all.
So I'm curious to know, because if I want to detoxify myself physically, right? I'll go to a sauna, I'll go to a steam room, I'll sweat it out, and I'll feel better after. I'll feel lighter. I'll feel more at peace, right? What are some tools that we can do to detoxify the spiritual pollution inside of us?
Very good. Very good question. First, I'm totally for sauna, steam room, ice bath. I think it's great, and you need it, rejuvenation, the body, especially if you is from the context and the intention pushing more towards my growth. Absolutely, absolutely. But it's a good question. So spiritual detox, what is spiritual detox? It's tshuva, it's repentance. It's first taking responsibility. There's no one person in this world that didn't mess up. We all messed up. Adam and Eve messed up. Part of the test of life is to mess up and to break free. You're not meant to be perfect. Part of growing lessons is and after the fact of after messing up, not in advance. After the fact, you need to accept that was part of your path with the Creator to mess up. That's first. After the initial pain, after the initial shame, after the initial guilt, being in two places. It's not something I'm proud of, but I'm accepting it as part of my path. It's part of my divine. Because people jump either to too much guilt or which they cannot deal with it, or denying it, or fixing it instantly. It says that a person that messed up and then transformed is much higher than a person that never messed up in that particular area. So that's number one.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
What would you consider the biggest mess up in your life?
It's good questions.
If you're open to sharing.
Yeah, I'm pausing to be open to to share.
Love that.
Absolutely. In my first marriage, I didn't take it as a major priority to be real, to be vulnerable, to be closer to my ex-wife. The fact that I know it's all part of the bigger picture and I'm exactly with the person I'm supposed to be now, but that's I think a major. I was so attached to the mission of my own growth and spreading the light, which I didn't see as part of the growth, really getting closer to my wife, to my ex-wife. So while I see it as a blessing and it's all part of the bigger picture, but that's a major one that, yeah.
How did that, and by the way, I think that's something that, myself and I think a lot of men also experience that, where it's like, I want to focus on my mission, my purpose. I want to focus on like building a life before sharing it with someone else. Like I want to make sure I can actually provide. Do you think that's a good mindset, a healthy mindset to have?
No, I think it's part, actually, to have a real partner in your life is part of true success, because true success is 360. With your spiritual growth, your financial growth, your relationship growth, your growth as a father, because the light of the Creator showing up in all these areas in our life. The mindset of when I'll be successful, then I can do this and that. That's part of the illusionary success mindset.
How was that? So your first marriage, that was, there's some valuable lessons you learned. Obviously, we met through your daughter, Racheli. Absolutely amazing, amazing human. I think, one of the best, and of course, this isn't like a foolproof system, but I think one of the best ways to really evaluate like someone's character is by witnessing their children, And of course, there's going to be kids that come from good homes and they just veer off path. Of course, those things are going to happen and vice versa. But your daughter is absolutely incredible. I haven't had a chance to connect so much. Actually, I have. I've connected with her younger sister.
Leah.
Yeah, of course.
They're all amazing kids.
Yeah,
I'm blessed, yes.
They're both absolutely amazing, amazing kids, women. And
I have 2 boys, 3 girls, yes.
And I mean, that's a testament to you and your growth and your continued effort. I'm sure there's many challenges on the way, as there always is. What is the biggest lesson you've learned in the process of fatherhood, and maybe a big lesson you learned early on, a mistake that you potentially made that you rectified later and it made a real difference in the way you connect with your kids?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest lessons I've learned in certain period as a father, I had the mindset, I want them to be certain way, spiritual, but specifically do what I do, and if not, they're not gonna be the best version of myself, and I will not feel good about myself as well. So that controlling thoughts actually caused me to not appreciate them as much I appreciate them today. So I feel blessed that part of my process of growth is truly letting go of want them to be what I want them, and truly trusting the Creator and trusting their soul that my job is to do the best that I can, and then allowing their unique seed, unique soul, unique special energy to blossom in their way and to surrender to that process. So that process helped me to actually have so much joy around them.
Isn't that also kind of what we were talking to earlier? Like the whole idea of unconditional love. The way you were kind of describing it, your love for them seems to be almost based on the conditions that they follow a path that you want for them.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's so common with parents, man, is like, it's all from their own healing, their own inner child wounds, right? But there's so many parents I meet and they brag about where their kids go to college, and they wear these different things as a badge of honor, like my son's in law school, my son got into Michigan, well, mine got into Brown, well, mine got into Princeton, well, mine got into Harvard. At the end of the day, a lot of these college institutions are extremely corrupt. It's not necessarily something you should be bragging about anyways. Spending $80,000 a year to get an education that isn't necessarily aligned with 2026. I could watch a few YouTube videos on AI and starting a business and probably learn more for free. But beside the point, so many parents attach their own identity to the perceived success of their kids.
Absolutely. And that's a test for every parent. That's a test for every parent. Actually, there's a powerful verse in the Zohar that says, when the Creator gives a person wealth and he's using it for his own pride, he will be hurt by that wealth. When a Creator gives a person children and he's using them just for his own pride, he will be hurt by them. They might not do something, but he will experience hurt. So it's so interesting because it brings us to the concept of you don't own anything. You don't own anything. You don't own your children. You don't own your money. You don't own your talent. When you realize you don't own anything, include your words, because there's certain thing in our life, I own it, it's mine, I can do whatever I want, then you realize, wow, so how do I let go of the attachment, the pride? How do I use it for my own need, for my own pain, for my own... So when you let go, you look at everything. You need to care enough, of course, but then let go of ownership. And life will test us to make sure we let go of ownership and attachment in my way and identify with that as if my kids, that's who I am. Or my money, that's who I am. Or my smart words, that's who I am. That's not who I am.
All right. So if you have been feeling the call to visit Israel, this is your sign, because in August 2026, I am leading a retreat in the Holy Land. This is going to be one of the most epic experiences ever, because over the last 2 years, I have built relationships with some of the best people in the country. So we are getting access to the things that 99.9% of people don't get to see when they visit Israel. In addition to that, it's going to be a 5-star experience combined with a lot of spirituality and transformation. So if this sounds like something that you are interested in, hit the link in the show notes to apply for our Israel initiation happening in August 2026. Now, let's get back to the show.
Or my smart words, that's who I am. That's not who I am. I am a soul. That's my true identity.
Where have you, and that's why when we were about to start this show, before you led me through that meditation, I had like a whole intro that I prepared. I was super excited about it. Maybe I'll read it to you after the show. But we were going to talk about your time and kind of how you started connecting in your relationship with Madonna. That's been pretty well documented for the last 3 decades, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, if that, because the reason I was kind of hesitant to actually ask you about it was because I'm sure people ask you about it all the time. And like, you've done so much over the last 4 decades that I didn't want to like diminish your identity to Madonna's Kabbalah teacher. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So you've also had the opportunity to just work with a lot of successful people who have done a lot of cool things in the world. So you've seen a lot, you've experienced a lot. First of all, I'd love to know the story of how you built that relationship with Madonna, but I'd also love to hear maybe in your own journey where you have kind of fell victim to being so attached to a certain identity. I'm sure it's happened in Madonna's life. Anyone who's created some sort of success, whether it's an athlete, you're so attached to that identity. I know I kind of asked multiple questions again, so I apologize. No. But wherever you want to start, let's start off just because I finished the 90-minute course, which I highly recommend people check out. I was like kind of upset it was so short. I was like, every video was so great. And it was like cool the way that, it was like you guys just authentically learning together. And I was like a fly on the wall, and I got to just enjoy the interactions. So for anyone that wants to know what I'm talking about, it's on
Kabbalah.com.
Yeah, and it's just like an amazing 8 video module with you and Madonna learning, and it's like kind of like the basics of Kabbalah, I would say, but it's a great place to get just introduced to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished watching that like last week, so it's fresh on my mind. How did that relationship with Madonna get started? And then also, I'll let you start there, and then I'll continue. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah. So, in my journey, I moved in '95 to Los Angeles. I was there before, a few years before, but in '95, I went to Los Angeles to teach at the Kabbalah Center there. And in 1996, one of the friends of Madonna, that time, her name was Susan Becker, custom designer, was my student. And she called me that day, or paged me, I forgot what was there, and then I got
I remember the pager.
Yes,
My dad
I'm
used
not
to use
sure.
those in the...
Yes. So she told me, I'm bringing Madonna tonight to the center. It was in the middle of Kabbalah 2, the second 10-week course. She was pregnant with her daughter Lola at that time.
Wow.
You know? So this was 30 years ago, about. And the truth is, I never saw Madonna in my life. In that time, I was pretty focused. So I heard Madonna. I never saw a picture of Madonna.
She was huge.
Yeah, she was huge at that time.
She was like,
huge at that. But I was pretty focused on the mission.
Of course.
It was not. So, so I said, yes, absolutely. And then she sat with her friend in the back of the class. There was about 40 people in the class. She sat in the back of the class. And then we said hi to each other, and for a while she decided to, and we met one time, and then she decided to take the first class, Kabbalah 1, that I started. And she came every week, and then she asked me if we can meet in addition also in person once a week. And we used to meet sometime in a house, sometime in an office, and that's how the relationship formed. And in some point she has, whenever she does something, she goes deep. So most people don't know, but she's only eating kosher. She's hearing every Saturday Torah reading in Shabbat, and all her kids are exposed to it. And so she's working on herself. She's working on herself. And I went with her with a long journey of ups and downs, and what I admire about her, true desire. True desire to grow in the midst of everything.
I was going to ask you what the biggest lesson that you've learned from Madonna.
True desire to grow in the midst of everything, being up, being down, true desire to grow. Yeah.
Because you were with her also when you spent time living in London, right? Because I remember Racheli told me that you guys lived in London for a little bit.
Yeah. We were there as well. Yeah, absolutely. We've been through a lot. Absolutely, yeah.
So 3 decades. What is the key to maintaining and building a relationship for 30 plus years? Like just in general, because I mean, I think that obviously like you're her teacher, but she's also teaching you, like that's how all relationships work. What is the key to really building those types of relationships that last the test of time?
I think if you look at any long-term relationship, there's alignment of purpose. Besides synchronicities between two people, but there's alignment of purpose. And sometimes you align with someone for a short period of time with your purpose, and then for whatever reasons, a person is a different chapter in their life. So I think if you look back at all my long-term relationship of 30 or 40 years, which I have quite few, is because of alignment of a purpose, of a mission, which is personal transformation through Kabbalah and bringing that message to others as well. So that's the alignment. So as she studied, she realized her job is not just to study for herself, it's to spread the light. That's the reason we did that masterclass in Kabbalah.com.
Are you guys going to do any more stuff together like that?
Who knows?
You don't have anything planned though?
No.
So good. It was really like, I really encourage everyone to check it out. Has there ever been a time where like you've maybe worked with someone, taught someone for a period of time, maybe they're a high profile person, maybe they're not, but like they just got so triggered by you being extremely real and honest with them that they're like, Eitan, thank you, but I don't want to see you anymore?
I wouldn't say anybody would admit that it triggered, but I would tell you that probably most of the high-profile people that I taught, which that's not the majority of people that I'm teaching, but most of them are not students today. So for one way or another, they're not in the path. But I can tell you something very interesting for me. A lot of people speaking about challenging times. From my experience, the most testing spiritual times for a person is when everything goes right for you. My experience, that's when people losing the connection with the Creator, with the push to spiritual growth. That's a major test for people. When everything goes well, a lot of people using spirituality for the sake of getting, and when they're getting, it's okay, I know it all already. That's how the ego works. So perseverance of desire to transform no matter what you're going through in life is so essential.
How do you feel with that being said? Because this whole idea of manifestation has gone mainstream the last 5 or 10 years. And I think a lot of people misunderstand what the real true meaning of manifestation is. Do you ever find yourself getting triggered by other people teaching these things that might not be aligned with like the Kabbalah teachings, or maybe they're just doing it in a very basic, simple way?
I'm not too triggered, but whenever I'm watching the idea of do 1, 2, 3 and then you'll manifest, okay? So it just makes me get deeper of what do I really believe in manifestation, and actually urge me to even spread more, because we manifest nothing. Think about a sperm cell and an egg coming together, and a baby is manifested. Who manifested the baby?
God?
Of course. You made some effort.
Right.
But where's the manifestation? I created that baby. Did you create that baby? In the same way you did not create the baby. Yes, you are partner in manifestation.
It's the idea of co-creating with the Creator.
Absolutely, but the real source of manifestation is only the Creator. What is manifested, how is manifested, and when it's manifested, you have no control over.
On the other side of the spectrum.
But of course, you have to invite the force of manifestation.
Right.
You have to make maximum effort. If you're not making maximum effort, and you're not questioning your purity, and if you're not learning the lessons every day, why something is not manifested? How am I interrupting the process? So of course, you have to do your part. But to think I'm the manifestor, and you spoke before about identity.
Yeah.
At a moment, whatever manifested in your life become your identity, I did it. That's what makes people old. That's what I did, and that's what I did, and that's what I accomplished, and that's what I know, and that's what I study, and that's how much I have. Makes you heavy, makes you old, block your vessel for newness. And that's identity with manifestation, as if that's who I am. I'm proud of myself. Of course, as a child, we go into initial evolution. I'm nobody, and I can manifest something. It's important process in the evolution. But in some point, you realize, I am not the manifestation. In some point, what made you happy will not make you happy anymore. Because you go to the next level, which I'm not the manifester. I'm just the conduit.
Yeah.
And I'm not defined by the manifestation.
The older I get, the more I become attracted to the quality of humility. And when I look at my dad, who's my greatest role model and inspiration, like, he was just such a humble man, like a super successful guy, very smart, well accomplished, but like just so humble, almost to a fault. And I feel like what I'm on a journey of doing is balancing these two realities, right? Of, I am nothing, I am insignificant, I am purely just a vessel of God. And then also, wait a second, I'm actually very important. I'm kind of a big deal. I'm here for a reason.
That.
I'm a vessel to deliver more light to the world. And it's a lot about balancing these two realities and harmonizing them, like having the humility to recognize that you are actually just a channel. You're a vessel, and God is working through you. And realizing that you've been gifted and blessed with the opportunity of being a vessel for the Creator to deliver light to the world.
Beautiful. Was a Kabbalist that used to have two little pieces of paper in the right pocket and the left pocket. In one of them, it was written, I'm a nobody. In the other one, the whole world was created just for me. So when you, and that's the dance, when you become entitled, look what I've done, and you forget the source, I'm a nobody. It was all blessings from the Creator. When you meant to do something and to make a difference and to help, and you shy away and you're waiting for things to happen, that's when the whole world was created just for me. As you said, which I love it. Like, I remember Michael Berg said something which I love. He quoted it, I think, from Rav Ashlag. He said, great creator doesn't create small things. Our soul is huge. Our souls are huge. Because the Creator is huge and infinite. And actually, more we reduce our ego, more we appreciate the greatness of our soul. Because the ego, I have to say something about it. I have to get attention from the physical reality, from people. If you know your soul is extension of the Creator, it's in huge, there's less need. So it's the jump. Where do you go to a nobody? And where do you go to my soul is huge?
Yeah. Are you enjoying this conversation? It's
Very
been
much,
fun, right?
Very much.
It's a vibe. How we doing?
Amazing. Rabbi's here.
Oh, really? All right. Cool. I want to get to these. I've never actually done this part before, but I wanted to try this out with just some rapid fire. So we can, and again, I know there's always going to be more to explain. I don't want to do the thing like the three ways to manifest. These are just some personal questions that I had, and we can go through them. And if you don't like one of the questions, you can just say pass, because I got a lot of them here.
It's a fast answer.
Yeah. Like as efficient explanation as possible. So the first one is suffering necessary for success.
Pain necessary for success, suffering not.
Because our suffering is just...
When I don't accept the challenge as opportunity, it becomes suffering. When I fight against it, it becomes suffering.
The resisting is the suffering.
Pain is necessary. Challenge is necessary. Discomfort is necessary. Yes.
What's one Kabbalistic principle that could change someone's life immediately, starting right after they listen to this?
It's exactly, this moment is exactly as it should be.
when you unscramble the letters of God's name, Yud and He and Vav and He, you get Hove, which means the past, right? Yihye, the future.
Ove is present.
What Chaya is the past?
Iye is the future.
And-
Aya is the past.
And it's like, it's just, at least for me, a reminder that God transcends time and that our greatest lesson, our greatest opportunity is to connect to the present moment. And that's when we're really going to feel the presence of the Creator.
When you connect really to it's exactly as it should be, then you're open to what's the next.
It's so tough these days to stay present, right? Like, what are some everyday, especially I'm curious, living in New York City, it's like, it's nonstop. I actually was staying in Dumbo for last night in Brooklyn. It was so peaceful. I was surprised. I was like, this doesn't feel like New York City. What's one practice that someone can implement tomorrow to make love to the present moment more often?
There's no shortcuts beside pausing 100 times a day. Either pause and appreciate. Either pause and embrace the present painful moment. You cannot shortcut that. You cannot just learn one lesson and hope that will set you for tomorrow. You have to practice pause. Pause and appreciate the miracle of this moment, the miracle of our conversation, the miracle that you breathe. When you go into pain, pause and appreciate the potential that is available in this moment. Because people looking for shortcuts for everything. But if everyone takes one concept from that and start with pausing 10 times during the day and applying that, that will make a difference. Then 15 times a day. That's where you start. You're not just learning a lessons and go through the motions and let life controls you in many directions. That's what I would start. Because those moments of pause is moment of alignment with the Creator, which will give you greater desire, greater direction, greater clarity, attracting the blessings into your life.
What does the first 30 minutes of your day look like?
The first 30 minutes of my day is meditation. Meditation, breath work, appreciation, alignment with my purpose, being a conduit, asking for help from higher forces, for guidance, reflecting about things I need to transform and shift.
No touching the phone though.
No.
That's like, I think one of the biggest actionable steps. Like for me personally, that I started doing a few years ago was like no phone for the first 60 minutes. It stays on airplane mode and just use that time to really connect.
Absolutely.
And be fully present, because then otherwise you're just reactive.
Absolutely.
To everything around
you. Start your day with reactivity. You start today, what's the phone saying? Yeah.
If someone wants to transform darkness into light, what's the best way to get started? Because I personally feel like I'm constantly trying to transmute any dark energy that I'm holding on to into positive energy, into something that can
That's
actually
the purpose
serve
of life.
others.
Absolutely. Those are the real moments in our life. Again, depend what darkness, but the willingness to be present with darkness without fixing it and knowing that the light is concealed within the darkness is the first step for transforming darkness into light.
It kind of goes back to what we were talking about in terms of like pushing down and suppressing certain feelings and
Exactly.
emotions, just to actually be present with it.
Because darkness can manifest itself in anxiety, darkness can manifest itself in fear, darkness can manifest itself in hurt, darkness can manifest itself in insecurities in so many different ways. So instead of right away feeling better, Just remember, it's okay to feel it, and just remember a deeper truth. The light is always there, even what appear as dark. It's just concealed. And we all meant to go through the process of transforming darkness to light.
Eitan, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. It's something I was looking forward to for a very long time. And, you know, even though I only got to do that 5-minute meditation with you a few months ago in Miami, like, you literally took me to a different place. I felt like I was on a psychedelic journey. And it's just beautiful to witness all of the impact you're creating, all of the light that you're sharing. And I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to build a friendship with one of your daughters. And again, I think that's just a reflection of the man that you are. So thank you so much for coming through and making time for this. I know you're a busy guy. Is there anything, any final words that you want to share with our audience? Anything from your heart that maybe we didn't get the chance to cover today?
The goal of spiritual tools, whatever spiritual path a person is not to fix my anxiety, is not to feel better. Maybe that's some of the outcomes. The goal is to become who I'm meant to be, the soul that I'm meant to be. And nothing else will fulfill us. So maybe in the short term, it drives me to change when I'm controlled by anxiety and I didn't find my soulmate yet. But that's not the goal. Don't use spirituality to fix issues. So persevere forever. Endless pursuit of transformation, of growth. And enough people committed for that and never takes themselves too seriously about any manifestation will shift the whole world.
I feel like I have a lot to process after this conversation. Very, very grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here and to have
Special.
such a open conversation with you.
That was great. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, very much.
I took all these notes this morning, like 2 hours of notes, and I kind of didn't really reference them. I kind of just allowed things to flow organically.
Exactly.
I think you helped with that in the meditation. But guys, make sure to follow Eitan's work. We'll link to everything in the show notes. Check out the course with Madonna. You also have a bunch of other courses on there, right?
Yes. With Michael Berg, with Monica Berg, with Marcus Wenson about success and money and spirituality and fears, and more courses will be uploaded. In that format, Kabbalah.com, because we're a non-profit organization, is pay as you can. So whatever a person wants to pay.
That's absolutely incredible, guys. So check out Kabbalah.com. We linked it in the show notes. Make sure to follow Eitan. I know you're taking your content game to the next level too. I see it. So thank you so much for listening, for watching. Much love, and see you next time. Boom.
Thank you. Thank
That
you.
was so good. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening and watching and tuning into the podcast. You made it all the way to the end, and I just want to express my gratitude for your support. It genuinely means the world. Now, as I mentioned before, the thing that would mean the most to me is for you to just share this episode with your friends, with your loved ones on social media. Tag me if you have gained some sort of value or new perspective from this episode. And I can't wait for you to tune into the next one, because we're just going to keep growing. We're going to keep bringing on the best and brightest minds in the world. So thank you so much. And I'll see you next time on the Jeremy Awakens podcast. Much love.